Hey, folks, it's Myron from the Tap Tap Wrestling Podcast. Tonight is a very special episode. I am joined by our founder and producer, Nick McDaniel, and Gary Lamb of Southern Honor Wrestling. Tonight, I'm going to take a step back for journalistic integrity and have Nick ask Gary about the promo he cut at the last Southern Honor Wrestling show. How are you doing tonight, gentlemen?
Doing awesome.
Okay.
Man, I'm doing good, man. I figured, last time you guys were all fun and games, but I had some questions to ask, man. We were there live and in living color, as they say, November 2nd. And I said, man, we need to get him on and ask him about this.
Yes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the interview in its entirety. If you haven't listened to this, people, it's an exclusive clip. Listen to the interview and see what you think. But here we're going to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time,
here we go.
Please welcome your Southern Honor General Manager. This is Gary Lamb.
The always controversial Gary Lamb, General Manager for Southern Honor Wrestling. He's back for show number 2. He's got himself a new red jacket.
I know, red jacket.
He's fired up.
He has on red shoes.
Can't wait to hear what he has to say tonight.
If you follow him on social media, you know how controversial he is.
He has been stirring up a lot of controversy on social media since our first show.
Yeah, he has.
Let's hear what he has to say.
I told you 1 month ago, we were going to be, and when I say we, I mean we, we're going to be the talk of independent wrestling in Georgia. In the last month, we've been on every local podcast, every wrestling blog, and we've made a lot of enemies, and guess what? We're okay with that. To do what no one else is doing, you got to do what no one else is doing. I'm so sick and tired, and all the bloggers and all the podcasters can report this. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about how everything's supposed to be in wrestling. I'm so sick of the unwritten rules. I'm so sick of the way things have always been done. The reason why everybody's still doing it that way and seeing what they're seeing is because nobody has a vision to do something bigger. I told you, it offended some of you last time, but the days of meeting in the Mason Lodge and the days of meeting in the old high school gym and the days of meeting in the fairground are over. This is our wrestling. And this is what it is. Not because of me, not because of the production crew, and as amazing as our athletes are, it's not because of them, it's because of you. I got a message today from Facebook. They sent updates to our Facebook page, and they said in the last 30 days, we had 375,000 impressions because of you. And here's the deal. We're just getting started. You think this is good? You just wait. We're about to take it a whole nother level. You ain't seen nothing yet. Listen, my partners, I got 2 partners, and they keep trying to take me back. I'm about to push it more and more and more. Hey, put me on the camera. Where is the camera? Local promotions. You don't ever know when we're going to show up. Every show you need to be looking for my tickets. You know you need the money. But you never know when you look out in the crowd and Southern Honor Wrestling will be there. We're here to change the game.
Well, there you have it, folks. I believe the gauntlet's been laid down. Nick, did you get all of that?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, guys. I was taking some notes because there was a lot thrown down right there. So, Gary, we're going to do this in layers. As you probably heard me say, I was taking notes as I was listening there, and there's some key things that I heard that I want you to address.
Yeah, sounds good.
First and foremost, one of the things that I hear you say a lot up there, at, in Canton at Southern Honor Wrestling, and I kind of want you to expound on it a little bit. It's always about changing the game, taking it to the next level constantly. Tell everybody kind of, you want to run it like it's 2018 and beyond, not like it's 1975, as we like to say, as we were discussing earlier. What does that mean to Gary Lamb?
Yeah, for us, it means just like you said. I think wrestling, independent wrestling, I'm a huge fan of independent wrestling. I'm a huge fan of wrestling, or I wouldn't be involved in wrestling. But I think it's one of those things that in 2018 just hasn't changed. The world's changed, technology's changed, people have changed. The way we go about our lives has changed, but we're still running a wrestling show the exact same way it was being run in 1978 or 1988. And it's got stale and it's got boring. And unless you're a diehard independent wrestling fan who has nothing better to do on Friday or Saturday nights, the last thing on your mind is going to a show. I used to go to a promotion here in our city, and literally every time people would hear I was going to a wrestling show, it was nothing but jokes and laughing. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start Facebook Living at these shows. I want people to see what it is I'm seeing. And that just made it worse. Like, it became the joke. When is Gary going to wrestling again? Or we can have something to laugh at on Saturday night. And I find that insulting to something that I love and something that's brought me so much enjoyment since I was a kid and something that my kids are into. And I find it insulting to something that, let's be honest, for 20-something years now has been the highest rated television show on cable television. It's not some backwood hillbilly thing, but yet, especially here in Georgia, we run it like it's some backwood hillbilly thing. And we're looking to change the game. We want something that the fans can be excited about. We want something that the wrestlers can be excited about. We want something that you can buy into throughout the week, even though we're once a month. I want them to be able to tune in and see storylines advancing and see angles going and seeing comments and quotes and feuds taking place throughout the week. Technology allows for all these amazing advancements, and we're here to change the game. The days that for us, 100 people in a gym is just not what we want. We want it packed out every single show. We figure we can put about 800 seats in our building, and we can't wait till the day comes that we're looking for another building to hold everyone.
Well, that's, and I tell you, we were there and we were talking about it, and we've had off air, but behind you, Myron and I have had millions of conversations. And one of the things that we think that sets you guys apart is the production level. Now we're going to get to what you said in that interview, or that promo that you specifically said is really the bloodline. And I do want to address that, but your production level is just like, when you talk about taking it to the next level, that's what sets Southern Honor Wrestling apart from everybody. And we did some Twitch stuff there from the show, and you guys can see it on Facebook Watch. That's it. I mean, tell a little bit about your team if you got a minute, because I want to give those guys some love because they deserve it.
Yeah, and without a doubt, we understand that our team and our facility allow us to do what we do. So I think there's three elements to our team. There's our building. Obviously, our building's a huge part of our team. We're very blessed. You saw the building. We have permanent access to that building. It's a 32,000 square foot building. The place where we do the wrestling is about 25,000 square feet, has lights, cameras, sound system, video screens, staging, comfortable chairs. It's wide open spaces, easy access to restrooms and lobby, concession area. It's a huge part. I believe we could do that in a portable setting. I've done it before in different businesses that I've been involved in, but it'd be a whole lot more work. And so the fact that we can start planning for a show on Tuesday when the show's on Friday is a huge blessing. And then my two partners in the business are Dylan Frymire and Nathan Mowry. And Dylan does all the video editing that you see. He's employed by DDP Yoga, DDPY. And so everything you've ever seen put out from the DDP crew, the Resurrection of Jake the Snake, the rebuild show they're doing, the videos you've seen of life transformation, chances are really good that Nathan filmed those and Dylan edited those. And so we're really blessed. Dylan is the guy who does a lot of music videos, so he kind of brings a more rock star, more edgier eye to film than maybe your typical wrestling video guy. So that's been nice. He's done the last 3 Fozzy videos. He did the Fozzy documentary that hasn't come out yet, Fozzy Around America, where they did 3 shows in one day. They just brought him on the Jericho cruise to do all the documentary recording for that. Dylan does all of our graphics. Dylan does all of our booking. And those guys are exceptional. I get all the credit, and really they do all the work. And so I promote what they do, and when they're putting out the kind of quality they put out, it's easy to promote.
Well, you're talking about he brings that rock star edge to it, and I think that's really something that misses. And again, we obviously we travel around, we see lots of independent wrestling, and we love it. All kinds of shapes and colors, it's all good. But you're right. There's something about that constant buzz when you're in that crowd. There's constantly some fast music, something playing that keeps you in the moment over and over. There's not that lull for 5 minutes while you're just kind of sitting there and waiting for the next thing to happen. You guys have a constant buzz and an excitement that fills that room nonstop.
Yeah. I've been in promotion my whole life. I have been in events my whole life. And so I've mapped out events. I know how to write storylines as far as the arc and getting a crowd up and getting a crowd down. And we figured in a 2.5-hour show, we never want them to come down. And so we know that we can manipulate a lot of that, I guess you would say, through the music, through the video, through the lights. And by bringing in the athletes that we're bringing in, the only thing we can't control is the actual matches. But we have the confidence in the athletes that we're bringing in, and we're spending the money to bring in the best, and we're going out on a limb to bring in the best. And it sounds really cliche, but we really feel like almost every match we have has the ability to be a main event from start to finish. And that's important to us. We don't want there to be any lulls in the action. And if there is kind of a downtime, we want it to be because there's some psychology going on. They're setting something up for a twist to set up a next storyline. But everything we do going behind the curtain is scripted and mapped out to the minute. And we go over that in our production meetings, and we go over that backstage, and nobody doesn't know what they're doing.
Well, now we're going to do the next part 2, which is, I think, a very key part to you. I've looked at the card, obviously, for, we've seen the poster for next month coming up, December 7th. Dude, I'll go ahead and tell you, I wrote 4 names that I saw on the poster. And I'm going to go through them. You asked me once we were talking about Jimmy Rave. Jimmy Rave's done it all. He's been around the world. He's been in Ring of Honor. He's done it all. And he's a teacher of wrestling on top of that. To me, that's a good get for you guys. He's going to bring a level of experience to that locker room.
He's got that AWE connection. He's got that Atlanta connection. We want to start drawing people from there. So he was a natural fit for us because he was in town for the holidays.
And then there's 3 that, let's go ahead and go to number 2 on my list. And I'll tell you why, because he's been there for a while with you guys. He did the first, and he's there. He was this past show. Austin Theory is about as money as it comes when I tell people all the time, I was on a show. This is crazy. Last December, I was on a year-end show, and somebody said, give me 3 names of guys that we're going to see in the WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor somewhere. And I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and start with Austin Theory. That's going to be one that I just know he's going to be there someday. And it's money. I mean, and that was a smart move.
Actually, he wasn't at our first show. He was at Evolve, our first show. And we're kind of at the mercy of Evolve's schedule. And we're learning that Evolve doesn't release their schedule to the guys very quickly. I don't know that I'm allowed to have a favorite, but he's probably one of my favorites. He's the total package. He's a promoter's dream. So he's got the look, the charisma, the skills, the name. And we've got some really cool shit planned with him starting in December. And we have to be very fluid with him, though, because of his schedule, because obviously Evolve comes first. And so where we can go with what we're planning in December, we're waiting every day to see where that Evolve schedule is going to get released.
Yeah. He's a 5-tool player if you're a baseball fan of any shape, form, or fashion. And
he's got the goods.
Oh, yeah, he's the real deal. Ray Fury, I know, has not been on any of your shows. We have actually seen him up close and personal, and he's actually done our show before.
Oh, I see. I have not. I've only seen it on YouTube, and I'm out of my mind. I'm a mark, and so if it makes me mark out, I figure it makes our fans mark out. And I am super excited about the Fury Cruise match. It is going to be insane. I can't wait to see the time. We're giving them some extra time in the ring. They're going to put on a show.
Yeah.
The one of the few times I get worked as a wrestling fan, I got worked by Ray Fury, and I hate to interject in this subjective discussion, but that guy got me to jump out of my chair and yell at a show.
That's awesome. I can't wait. We tried to get him. We couldn't get him the first show. He was booked. I feel like, don't quote me on any of this, I feel like there was a miscommunication on the second show. He didn't get back to us in time. By the time he got back to us, we had already booked the show, and the stars aligned for the third show.
He's hard to get. He's all over the place. I mean, he's an indie superstar by any of your stretch of the definition. He's the man.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Last but not least, we are here, we're at the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. We're huge fans of women wrestling.
Yes.
And you're bringing the fire, no pun intended, with Kiera Hogan next show. We've seen her for a couple of years now, and she's tearing up Impact right now. That was an amazing get, like on top of what you've already brought in with Lindsay Snow and Danny Jordan and all those ladies already tearing up the scene there.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be a real popular sentiment. I'm a huge women's fan in WWE, NXT. And I have, matter of fact, to the point that probably one of our biggest disagreements in our partnership, we're kind of like Cody and the Bucks. It's got to be 3 thumbs up, and for everything that we do. And I've been a thumbs down nonstop on women's wrestling, and because I haven't seen it good in independent circles. And I conceded in our last show, and I told them, and I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying this doesn't make me an asshole. But I told Danny Jordan, I said, you got one shot to make me want to have another match. And I'll be damned if she didn't go out and deliver, and which was good because we already had Hogan booked and already had her on the poster. So we knew we were doing something in December, but I didn't know if we were going to do it after that. But I'm excited about that. That's a hard one. The women are so hot right now that everybody wants to bring them in, and there's not a lot that are at the level that we deem necessary to be part of Southern Honor. And obviously Kiera Hogan is at that level.
Oh, easily. Yeah, she's on fire. And just constant. I think you will be pleasantly surprised if you're not a wrestling, women's wrestling fan.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm going to jump now because I'm going to come back. There is a couple talents that I'm a huge fan of that we're going to address because you need a long form answer on this one. But the last part, the 3-part of the equation you talked about was your fans, the bloodline, for the promotion. 2 shows in, let's be upfront, man. They're on fire. They're buying shirts. They're they're all in. They're all in for you guys, and that's a huge thing. So I was going to give you a second to tell them what you think for the fans there about how strong that support's been already.
Yeah, I think that our fan base has been incredible. The way they've rallied around what we're doing, I think that they showed that what we were doing was needed in our area. People wanted to be excited about wrestling again. It's amazing how many people are my age, grew up watching wrestling, got into wrestling 20 years ago, and right about the time WCW and everything fell apart, we kind of walked away from wrestling. Maybe we got married, maybe we had kids, maybe we had to grow up for a little while. And now that we have kids that age, that's how I got back into it. My son got into wrestling, and it got me back into wrestling. And I think that as they survey the product out nowadays, if you're my generation, you found it lacking. And our fans definitely have shown that they found it lacking because we over and over and over again, we've heard it takes us back to the Attitude Era. It's taking us back to what we saw on Saturday night. It's taking us back to the Monday night stuff. I think people love drama. They love controversy. They love high production. And they especially love it when all they got to do is sit back and watch it and not be part of it. And so they have been huge. And you talked about our team. And Dylan, Nathan, and those guys and their production's amazing. And the skill set that I bring is, I always joke, and I've always said this, and I told our guys this in the first meeting, that first time we ever met. I said, here's what I bring to the table. I know how to rally people. I know how to get them motivated. And I do us against the world better than anybody. And so you draw people like you. And so we've got a group of people that really believe we're creating a revolution. They really believe we're bringing about change. It's funny. If you go to our Facebook page, and they've changed the way they do reviews now. So now I think it's called reviews and recommendations. And you go read those. I would say it's 50-50 from wrestling fans. And 50% of the people are like, never been to a wrestling show in my life, came to this, blown away, had a blast. My standard was my wife. My wife wasn't able to make the first show. She doesn't care about wrestling, doesn't have any interest in wrestling. Matter of fact, maybe borderline on being the first thing I've ever promoted that she would never say this, but she was embarrassed about. I noticed she wasn't sharing it like she was sharing the other things that I'm involved in. And I think she saw the videos from the first show. She came to the second show. And by no means, she's not a wrestling fan now, but I heard her telling someone the other day, she said, I had a blast. It was just a fun event to be at. You just felt like you were part of something bigger than yourself. And maybe that happens every night when you're in Atlanta. It doesn't happen every night when you're in Canton. And so we're excited about what we're building, but make no mistake about it. It's our fans. We're putting the content out there and we're promoting it, and they're sharing it. They're telling everybody about it. We had people showing up at 2:30 in the afternoon to get tickets. That's insane.
Hey, they want to be up close. They want to be up front. They want to, and while you're talking about it, I'm going to let you subtly throw it in here. When they're trying to get those tickets, because they're showing up at 2:30 in the afternoon, they're buying them advance online. How do they do that?
Yeah, southernhonorwrestling.com. You can get reserved seats, first, second, and third row, or you can get general admission that'll allow you to be anywhere. And then, of course, you can show up the night of the show. And everybody asks, do we ever sell out? We sell out of chairs because we only have so many chairs. But the reality is we could start selling $5 standing room only tickets if we had to, and get 500 more people in our facility. And we're always prepared to do that. That's the beautiful thing about black curtains. They can be moved in 2 seconds.
Exactly. And while we're there, because, you're creating such a buzz online. You were talking about Facebook. You're talking about Twitter, all that good stuff. Tell them where they can find you, because we're going to get serious after this. I want to get you,
Yeah, on Facebook and Instagram, you can find us at Southern Honor Wrestling. On Twitter, it's S Honor Wrestling. And I'll be really honest with you, we do very little with Twitter. Our Instagram goes to our Twitter. I don't even know that I've ever logged into our Twitter, to be honest with you. And so we're super active on Facebook and we're super active on Instagram. And I've learned that Instagram is where the industry people are, and Facebook's where the fans are.
Yeah, I did give you I shared your Twitter, trying to get you a little love there on Twitter, saying like, give it a follow.
Yeah.
Twitter is a weird thing, man. I'll tell you, it's hit or miss with wrestling. We do find, but a lot of guys work off of Twitter.
Yeah, I used to. So when Twitter first came out, I was in an industry. I was in ministry. And so I was one of the first people to adopt to Twitter. And it's funny. One of the Christian magazines came out and named the top 10 Twitter people in ministry, and I was like number 8. So I used to be very active on Twitter, and I just but here's the deal. At the end of the day, I think it's great to follow leaders. I think it's great to follow celebrities. I think it's great to follow people that you kind of watch. But for interaction with your average person, at the end of the day, people in Canton, Georgia are on Facebook. They're not on Twitter. And people in the industry, whether it be musicians, wrestlers, referees, other promotions, they're on Instagram.
It's a different world. I totally agree. And know your target demo is what we always like to say.
Yeah,
right?
We just got a Twitch account. We haven't even set it up. I just reserved our name. We did Snapchat. We got that. I haven't done anything with any of those. So we'll see if we do anything with those things down the road. I just want to get our name reserved.
Well, let me ask you real quick, subtly. I know you're talking about doing something on Twitch there. Possible airing of shows?
Definitely a possible airing of shows. We actually have a meeting tomorrow at 1:00 with the CEO of a large distribution online of wrestling events. And so I don't know. They're looking for a flagship show by region. and they're talking to us about being the flagship of the Southeast. And so I don't know what that will be, if that means we have to be exclusive to them. If it is, I doubt we'll do it. But yeah, Twitch is an option. Facebook Live. I don't know. I've got to know that on those avenues that we can still do the same quality we do. If it just means setting up a camera in the corner and showing a match like that, I don't know that would meet the quality that we want to do, and so I don't know that we would do that. But if we could go to a live feed where we're switching from camera angles and doing something like that, then we'd probably be really interested in it.
Sounds fair. I just wanted to get that out there when you mentioned it. Obviously, we're doing some Twitch stuff too. We were doing Twitch stuff from your show.
I saw that, and that's what made me go get the. I mean, I've seen Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff talk about it, and what's the other thing they talk about?
They talk about the
Patreon.
Patreon. I set up a Patreon account, but again, we've done nothing with it. I just want to reserve our name.
Good call. All right. Well, we've been kind of sharing the love with the fans and the athletes and all this stuff. Let's get to the serious questions now. Now we're going to ask you. In that promo, you kind of put the call out to some of these other promoters out there. About the business, the way they're handling it. Let me ask you this. Is your take on it real simple? You're going to blaze the trail, and if they fall off and their fans just stop coming to them, that's their problem. It's not your problem.
Yeah. First of all, I didn't plan to say what I was going to say. I don't ever think about what I'm going to say. On the text sheet, it says Gary fires the crowd up. That's what it says. And so I walk out. I want our fans to know I appreciate them. And then I just basically share with whatever's on my mind. And that was what was on my mind that night. To see that many people in that room chanting our product, excited about our product, after the month we had had of criticism and negativity from all those in the industry, to me, it was just the ultimate F you to all those people. And it validated that what we were doing. And that's what came out. And to answer your question and not beat around the bush, I don't have a desire to put anybody out of business. I want everyone to be successful. That being said, I'm not responsible for their companies. I'm not responsible for their promotions. At the end of the day, I don't build or not build. I don't book or not book based on them. So either you step up your game or you go away, and that's not on me. That's on you. So while I want to see everyone thrive, if they close down tomorrow, I'm not losing any sleep over it.
Well, guys have got to work. That's the biggest thing, right?
Right.
Next question I wanted to bring to you. Two guys that specifically are not going to be working your next show. There's a little bit of a beef, it seems like, with the young boy, your boy, Alan Angels. Why such a controversy? What has gotten into this kid, and what's his issue with Gary Lamb?
I think Alan is the typical millennial. And he wants everything handed to him. He wants everything catered to him. And he felt like he was robbed at our first show. He lost. He was pinned 1, 2, 3. And he's whined and he's bitched about it nonstop. And I guess he's used to whining and bitching about stuff, and promoters overlooking that.
I don't want to cut you off because I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute. He played a video at your last show.
Yeah.
Did he have a beef?
He did have a beef. He did have a beef. And had he handled himself in the right way, the beef might have went in his favor with a title shot. But it didn't go in his way. He couldn't keep his attitude. I've got a bad attitude. Well, your bad attitude cost you. And so maybe he'll learn from his bad attitude.
I mean, so with his actions that night, he has since been suspended, correct?
Been suspended for December.
I mean, now, we've been fans of Angels for a while. The kid's super talented, and I heard you even say it in the promo when you talked to him.
He wouldn't be in Southern Honor if he wasn't talented. So we handpick everyone who's in our promotion, and he was hand chosen to be in our promotion. And we had big plans for him. We still do have big plans for him. That's where I'm different than a lot of people. I can take the personal stuff off to the side if I think we can do business together. But he was getting more out of control, and I think sitting on the sidelines for a month would be good to get his attitude back in check.
Did he cross the line with his post-match antics where he attacked his partner, Danny?
I think I was more upset. It's weird, and to be not an old school guy, the intergender thing is kind of weird to me, but I guess under the guise of it's a match, I can accept it. to lose your cool at the end and attack a female, I really struggled with that. And I think I saw it coming. I was watching the match backstage, and I could feel it. And that's one of the reasons I think I was able to get out there so quickly. As soon as the match was over and I saw they weren't leaving the ring, I just kind of was peeking behind the curtain. And the minute I saw it, I was able to get out there. And I'm too old and too fat to run down an aisle. And props to those guys getting in the ring, because I about knocked myself out jumping in the ring. And I don't want to do that anymore. But once he put his hands on me, that was definitely – what choice did I have? Either I suspend him or I lose all credit with everybody in the back, and then everybody thinks that I'm their bitch, and that's not going to work real well.
Well, then let me ask you. So, and this is going to be it's not a shot at you. It's a legitimate question. So you didn't suspend him for attacking Danny after the match. It was more he put his hands on you.
Yeah, I think someone puts their hands on you, it's pretty hard to stay calm and not be emotional. So, especially in my building. And I'm an arrogant person in the town that I feel like I've built. And I make no bones about it. Canton's my town. I chose that town 15 years ago, and I've been making an impact in this town for 15 years. And so in my building, in front of my crowd, to put your hands on me, it was probably for his own safety. It was probably a good thing that he's gone. So,
well, he'll be back, right? We're going to see him back. So
maybe we'll see.
Yeah. Another gentleman, I just want to ask you, because this is you. We talked earlier about some of your favorites and some of mine that are there. One of the most talented individuals I've seen across Georgia, hands down, is another gentleman that's not going to be there in December, AC Mack.
Yeah. I'm not too proud to say maybe being emotional there for a moment, but, you know, there's a lot of controversy on whether people love or hate Donald Trump, but something I read by Donald Trump one time in an old book of his was he said, "You never apologize." And so he's suspended. He chose the wrong time to laugh. I'm not apologizing that he's suspended. I think you got a better chance of seeing Mac back in January than you do Allen. I'm a big believer in AC Mack, but I'm as big of a believer as I am in AC Mack. Let me also make this very clear. We've had 2 shows, and he's been pinned 3 times. And one time he was pinned in 3 seconds by Raven. So his potential has not translated and played out in Southern Honor either. So it's one thing, you know, here's what I've learned. So my brother played college football. My brother was pretty good in high school. And he went off to college, and he said when he got to college, everybody was the best in high school. And what I think AC's learning is that it's one thing to be the best in all these little small promotions, but when you get into the big time like Southern Honor, everybody's just as good as you were. So do I see a lot of talent in him? I see a lot of talent in him. Do I see a lot of charisma in him? I see a lot of charisma in him. But the facts are, 2 shows in, he's 0-3, and one of those matches he lost in 3 seconds. So I guess he'll get a shot to redeem himself, but he better show something.
Because I guess just like the other promoters around Georgia, if the wrestlers don't step up their game, they're gone.
Yeah, I don't know about other promoters, and I don't know about other promotions. I know that I get probably 40 to 50 messages a week from some of the biggest names in independent wrestling, all but begging to come wrestle at Southern Honor after they've seen what we're doing online. They've seen the production. They've seen the outlet. They've seen the views. So while I love Allen and I love AC, I have no problem replacing them because I got in this to be a business, not because I needed a hobby.
Well, I mean, you're knocking it out of the park. Like I said, month after month, you've got 2 shows, and then we came to the second one, obviously, and that's funny. 3rd one, it's a lock. We'll make it.
Awesome.
The kid has
to, sharp.
Yeah, well, if the kid has to go to if she's got to go to her state playoff, and I don't get to make it, maybe she'll forgive me because I got to go to Southern Honor Wrestling, right?
Well, I'm glad to hear that. My son, it's funny. So my son plays in the band, and they're in the playoffs. They're undefeated, and he's like, we could still be playing. I said, yeah, I won't be there. So I don't know what to tell you. Good thing I've seen you march before.
Yeah, well, my daughter, she's a senior. She's, sideline cheers, so she'll be in Mercedes-Benz if they make it.
Yeah.
And, it's a tough call, but we'll –
I don't think they'd play on a Friday, though. I think they'd play on a Saturday.
We're hoping. We're crossing our fingers because, they haven't released that schedule yet.
Right. Well, they're good.
Yeah, so we'll cross our fingers. But, man, I want to follow up before we get out of here. December 7th. It's a huge show for you guys. I mean, we've already talked about some of the names on that card: Ray Fury, Austin Theory, Kiera Hogan, Jimmy Rave, on and on and on.
The champion, Kevin Ryan, Logan Creed, Sunny Days, Greatest Showman, Dax Anthony, Ashton Starr. It's going to be a packed card.
It is. And, we told you earlier, you can follow them at Twitter at SHonor Wrestling, over on Facebook and Instagram, Southern Honor Wrestling. And then, of course, again, where do they go to get those tickets again?
SouthernHonorWrestling.com.
You got to get your tickets early because, like I said, we talked about how full it was the last time we were there. People showing up at 2:30 in the afternoon. You're a promoter by nature. Sell those guys. Tell everybody why they got to be there December 7th.
I literally think we are. It sounds cliche by now, but we're changing the game. Any perception, any thought you have about what independent wrestling is, we'll blow it out of the water. It doesn't matter. I assume if you're listening to this, you're a wrestling fan. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you're a wrestling fan or not a wrestling fan. When you walk in that building, you will realize you're at the place to be on a Friday night. From the music to the people that are walking around. The funeral portrait band was there. Rich Ward was there. It's a who's who of local people, local celebrities. We had councilmen there. It's the place to be in North Georgia. First show I said it was the place to be in Canton. And second show, I feel like it was the place to be in North Georgia. Our show ended at 10:30, and I got out of the building at almost 12:30 because people did not want to leave. They were having that much fun. And I've been doing promotion and I've been doing events my whole life. I went to lunch with some people today and they were asking me about it. And I said, here's the deal. It's the first thing that I've ever done that has exceeded my expectations. I have pretty big expectations when I show up at an event. In both shows, I've showed up with big expectations and I've left there being like, wow, that exceeded my expectations. That exceeded what I pictured was going to happen. And if you're not a wrestling fan, it'll make you a wrestling fan. Again, it's an amazing show. And I don't want to get behind the curtain too much, but I told someone the other day, someone asked me, well, you're grown up. How can you be into wrestling? I said, how can you be into your favorite TV show or your wife be into the bout? It's a great night of entertainment. And it's $10. Or you can't go to a movie for $10, And so your kids are going to love it, and you're going to have a blast. And come on out.
That's a theme we preach here on the podcast. Is we constantly tell people you won't find a better value for your money than to take your entire family to a local indie show. And the great thing it is with your production level and stuff, it's even better than that. And so we tell people, take your family of 4. They're going to get the production level is going to be off the chart. The matches are going to be great. The kids get to go out. And I'll tell you one of the things that impressed me the most, and then I knew we were going to wrap up here, but I want to make sure people understand this. That merch session at intermission was nuts.
Was it? See, I didn't get over there. And we moved them this time. That was probably our biggest mistake our first show, is we put those guys in a horrible place. And so we changed everything around. So where you saw the merch tables at this time was the concession stand the last time. We moved the concession stand into the venue, and we moved them outside the venue. And everybody seemed to think it worked a whole lot better. And we dealt with a little heat of Faces and Hills being on the same row, but get the hell over it.
Well, it was packed. I will go ahead and tell you that it was packed to the gills out there. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, we do a lot of shows. And I mean, when I walked out there, when you can talk to Myron again, ask him. I walked out there just to, I was like, hey, I'm going to go out to the merch station. I came back and he's like, what? That was pretty quick. I was like, dude, it's just packed. I was like, I'll go out there later when it's, but it was literally packed. And I think that was some of what happened after the show as people were running back out there again.
Yeah, I know that we sold out of almost every shirt we had. We might have sold out. We might have 1 or 2 shirts left. I know that Sunny Days sold a lot of shirts, and I would assume the other guys, I hope they did. We want them to all do well. We pay them, I think, a good rate, but I want them to make another $200-300 in merch every week. And if they've got the merch and they've got the product, then good for them.
Well, and what I was saying is that from that whole experience for a young kid, you can try to drop a ton of money, and this is no disrespect to WWE at all. You can't get to me, especially for the money, the experience that you can get at a Southern Honor Wrestling show. You can walk up to an Austin Theory, you can buy his shirt, shake his hand, meet him, talk to him for a second, and then move to the next table. And there's Mac, or there's Fury will be there. By the way, if you haven't seen a Ray Fury merch table, guys, he's got his act together when it comes to the merch tables. One of the best awesome. You'll see. So I tell fans now, get your tickets now, because you're not going to get just a great show. The merch tables are going to be awesome, because I already see the names that are there. You'll get to meet these guys, and these are guys, like you said, you're going to see them at the big and when I mean the big show, I'm talking WWE, NXT. They're going to be there.
Hogan at the next level. You're going to see Theory at the next level. We got a little surprise for this show. You're going to see that person at the next level. You've seen Rave at the next level. You're going to see Fury if he chooses to go to the next level, at the next level. And even your guys like, I think there's a lot of guys on our roster that what the next level looks like, I don't know. But a Logan Creed's going to go to the next level. Mm-hmm. What that next level looks like, again, I don't know. But, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff above us. There's Impact. There's Evolve. There is Ring of Honor, There's the big rumored one starting in January. I mean, there's going to be a lot of places to go in the new year. And so I hope that those guys move up, obviously. And I hope that we become one of those promotions where the only place to go up is up north. I mean, make no mistake about it. You got to make sure you can back up whatever you say. And I don't know that we can back it up financially right now. But we did not start Southern Honor to compete with Georgia independent promotions. We started it to eventually to compete with Ring of Honor and Impact and MLW and some of those places. And that's really big goals 2 shows in. But that was our goal 0 shows in. And we'll just have to see what the future holds in that regard.
Well, you're off to a great start. I won't lie. We were there. We've seen it up close and personal. And as far as the production level goes, you're just as good. I mean, on some of those levels with some of those other guys. And I think you're off, like I said, to a great start. We hope hopefully we can be along for the ride with you, man, because we're enjoying it so far.
I love you guys, and man, I tell you what, I love you, but man, I thought you were going to go a whole lot deeper into that promo. You were easy.
Well, there's always more, right? I tried to get you to fire at them, man, and I said, hey, this is your shot. Go after those promo, go get them. But I get it. So, after the last show, we'll let you have a cool month. I mean,
I just don't give 2 rips about them at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I just don't. What happens with them happens with them. I'm going to do what I want to do, and we'll see what happens.
They can either, they can step, like you said, we said it earlier.
And I'll be at their shows. I wasn't lying when I said that. I need to go check out some other shows. So they're going to see the SHW crowd roll up into some shows, and they can love it or hate it and throw us out, and we'll video the whole thing and have some fun with it.
Well, there's one local promoter that we've said, we're going to put Gary Lamb in the car and we're going to bring him.
Yeah.
So
is it Thanksgiving?
It's Thanksgiving night. Yeah.
I'm going to do if that show started at 8:00 instead of 7, it'd be 100% that I was there. 7 is going to be tight for me to make it, but I will be there by 7:30. I'm going to be there.
Make a big entrance at 7:30, 8:00. I think that would be appreciated.
I just want to cut the lights in their whole building right when I walk in. I got to figure out how to cut them back on.
It'll be on fire because, that place is fried, right?
I've heard it's an amazing show. He has definitely been the most accommodating to us. I think he gets it. He gets that it's a business. And he gets that we're gunning for him. He's the best in the state. And so, who knows, maybe a year from now we're in the Cobb Civic Center in a War Games, Southern Honor against Southern Fried, and we'll see see who is the best.
We'll see, right?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Let's see who can it's going to be a race to get there if it can get there, and let's see if they can keep up, right?
Let's see if we can keep up. Maybe them old timers know something.
Well, he does things a little different. So I mean,
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that show. But like I said, we look forward to again December 7th. Give them the address, man, so they know where they're going.
261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia, right off exit 16 off 575. Super easy to find. Plenty of parking. Great building. Heat, air. I think best wrestling venue in the state of Georgia, and you'll love it.
I would agree with that. I'm not even, we've talked about some other, promotions that are on fire right now, but that venue and your production level, I will say right now, best production and best venue in any wrestling promotion that I've been to.
And the best athletes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There might be some that are putting out the same athletes that we're putting out, but no one's putting out better. And there's no one putting that many on one card.
That is true. That is true. So
it's total package.
It's real simple. Southern Honor Wrestling's here. They're not going anywhere.
Ooh.
Keep up or get out of the way, basically is what you're saying.
We're going to do what we do, and you can like it or hate it. You can keep up or not keep up. And, again, I hope they don't go anywhere, man. The guys that we're not ever going to use need a place to wrestle. So let them stay around.
Absolutely. Again, southernhonorwrestling.com. Get your tickets. Southern Honor Wrestling is on your Facebook and your Instagram. S Honor Wrestling on Twitter. Don't miss them. December 7th, man. Huge, huge show. Gary, man, thanks again for coming on, man. We always love you having on.
I love being on your show, man. I've never heard Myron be quiet so long.
Well, this is in the interest of impartial journalism. I'm the Edward R. Murrow of wrestling podcasting. Nick has a set of questions I don't have. I like to talk about the bullshit and the gaga and all this stuff. Nick's a traditional wrestling journalist. He's like I would call him the Dave Meltzer of Georgia, but
I would slap you.
Great matches.
Yeah, there's another guy that does the Dave Meltzer of Georgia.
Well, I wouldn't know because he doesn't come to our shows, and when he does write about us, it's always negative. So,
shall we get this?
Good things.
Shall we get this one on the webpage again?
So, it should be on the webpage because the three of us are three of the hottest things in independent wrestling in Georgia. So everything we do should be on the webpage.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and I do agree with it. I really like having you guys on the show. It brings an air of legitimacy to a show that has been criticized all over Georgia wrestling.
Who's criticized this show?
Well, you know what I mean. There's people that's been called people pieces of shit. There's been challenges laid down.
Well, that just means to me you're doing something right.
Oh, nobody's called me a piece of shit, but I really wouldn't mind if they did. It's not that big a deal. But I'm like I said, an impartial journalist. So I'm just trying to do the best I can to put on the best wrestling show in Georgia. And sometimes you have to bring on people who can do things you can't.
The controversy had to be good for you.
Yes, it's been very good for me.
Are we still on air?
We are still on air. Let me tell you something real simple.
Then I'm not going to say what I was going to say next.
I get $3 hot dogs everywhere I go.
Hold on. Let me set the record straight since we're on another subject and we're going to plug this show. The headache and the stress is great for the talent that does these interviews, like Myron and Lewis, who does our other shows and stuff. But it sucks. You can relate to this. Owner, producer, general manager. It sucks on that side because I'm the one who has to deal with it. I'm the one who gets the Twitter,
Yeah,
I'm the one who
I thrive on it. I can see where you wouldn't. So, yeah, I like it. The shit that I create sucks for Dylan, but Dylan doesn't on any of our social media, so he doesn't have to deal with it. He has to deal with nobody in the business contacts me because they know I don't give two shits, but they contact Dylan. Well, what's this guy doing? What's he thinking? Do you know what you guys are doing? And Dylan knows he can't control me, so at the end of the day, he just has to smile and have my back. So, because it's working. I think Dylan sometimes wishes it wouldn't work, or he could be like, "I told you so." But so far, man, knock on the Advil bottle. Knock on wood. So far, it's all worked, and he's just got used to it now.
Well, that's just from my perspective. I always say the headaches are nice for everybody else because they like the commotion.
I don't know that they do like the commotion. I don't know that the young gentleman who created the commotion on the last one liked the commotion he created. I don't think he was ready for that commotion.
Probably not.
I liked the commotion I created. So
it's good. We're good with that. Yeah. So But
I
anyway,
think the
man,
guy that he called out liked the commotion because he thrives on it like me.
probably so. Hey, everybody needs to be booked, right?
Ooh, Lord. Well, this has been another groundbreaking episode, and I don't think anybody's doing anything like Southern Honor is doing, and I don't think anyone is doing anything like we're doing here today. And I really appreciate everything you've done, Gary, and helping us out.
I appreciate you guys, and I think you guys are killing it.
Yes.
And I was really pleased, not that it matters two shits what I think, but I think on your last podcast you announced you're bringing everything back under one banner.
Yeah.
And that was a good move for someone like me who found it confusing and didn't know where to subscribe and unsubscribe. I was a big fan. I was literally doing the lunges out on the track at 5 a.m. listening to it. And you said that, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Bring it back under one heading.
Yeah. We don't like to give too much away on, like I said, when we're somebody like you, but yeah, we're going to have all of our interviews back under one thing, all of our shows in one feed. And
now you guys have another gentleman who does something, right?
Yes.
we have 2 other shows actually.
See, I've never listened to them. So are they local guys or not local guys?
One set's out of Pennsylvania and one's out of Canada. So yeah, we're pretty big.
Okay. You're international.
We're the number 21 podcast in the wrestling world.
That's the first most recognizable podcast in the world to date, baby.
Yeah, I said that. And I didn't like the number 21. So when I promoted you guys, I just said top 20. So if not make me a liar and move up one slot next year, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
We can do that.
And I'll help you get there.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Let's strap a rocket to it. Okay. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. It's been good for the business. It's been good for wrestling, and thank you. And good night.